Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Daily IoT. On today's episode, I've been thinking. So, a couple episodes ago, I showed how we can connect our particle device, our particle photon in this case, to LoSant and have LoSant grab stats from the NHL API and send them down to our particle device. And that's super cool. But what I started thinking of is, what if we wanted to turn this into a product? I'm not trying to do that, but we're gonna go down the what if rabbit hole here. What if we wanted this to be a product? In that case, or even an advanced maker thing, I've got all this code and I can burn code onto the photons, mass produce them that way, or have people load the code themselves. But having every single person go in and make a LoSant workflow to grab their player's favorite stats and then send them down to their device is not really a sustainable business model. And so I want to play around with LoSant in a way that I think we can. I mean, the platform's obviously capable of doing that, but for our project, I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to give you some code for your particle device and show you how I set up LoSant, of course, so that you know how to do that. But also, if you don't want to mess with that side of it, to be able to simply get those stats from my LoSant workflows as if it were a product, where you wouldn't have to know anything about LoSant or that I'm even using LoSant. You just have your device that's getting stats magically from the cloud. And so to do that, what I want to do today is I've got 3 particle devices here, 2 photons and an old Spark core, and I want to put some code on them that will turn on the built-in LED that's on all of these based on publishing an event from LoSant. So in the particle ecosystem, there's this concept of events that you can subscribe to and publish to. And I think the way that this works is I can just subscribe to an event about a player, which makes this a lot like MQTT, this sort of subscribing to a topic, where when I grab the updated stats for Fleury or whoever your Connor McDavid, whoever your favorite player is, that I can publish an event to the particle cloud, and then all of the devices that are listening should get that without having any knowledge that LoSant even exists, which is really cool. First, that they don't have to have that knowledge, and second, if LoSant can do that. And so I think it can, but that's what we're going to try to accomplish in today's episode. Before we get into it, I've been working on our project case, as it were, which is an actual hockey puck. You can see that. Interesting. I actually searched the internet for how to bore out a hockey puck. And, some people said you could use a router. Some people said you got to freeze it so that the rubber's, frozen so it doesn't make a stinky, melty mess. Another guy was like, there's no need to freeze it. It'll work just fine. I haven't tried freezing it because I believe the second guy. I did a test run with a Dremel. It stunk and it got steamy and it started to melt. And so maybe if it was frozen, that would work better. But being the impatient person that I am, I didn't want to wait for it to freeze. And so I grabbed a chisel and chiseled out a pretty decent square hole in this thing. I didn't even mark it. I just kind of eyeballed it and came out with a pretty good square. It's not quite deep enough, but I think we are well on our way just hacking together to get all the electronics we need into our hockey puck. So quick update on that. But now let's get into seeing what we can do with publishing events from LoSant to our particle devices. Okay, we're taking the low budget approach today. I'm not going to screencast. I've got 3 particle devices. This is a photon, Spark core, and another photon. They're all breathing cyan, meaning they're all up and running. They're running very simple source code. Look at that. Just a function called stat update that turns the LED on, delays for a second, turns it back off, and then we wire it up with this particle dot subscribe, and we're subscribing to hockey Fleury stats. And this is completely public. It does not have to be one of my devices that I've claimed. It should post it to the entire particle cloud. We come over here to the LoSant workflow, which is a virtual button to kick off the workflow so we can test it, and then a particle publish. And I'm going to click on that. You will see that it is a simple post to this URL. And then we URL form encode the stuff that the data that we need to send per the documentation. And so now when I push that virtual button, we should see the LED light up on all three of these. 3, 2, 1. Oh man, look at that. So like they all light up at perfectly in sync. I don't know if that's just coincidence or not, but that was amazing. Okay, I gotta push it again, sorry. But, oh, I'm gonna push it a couple more times. This is super exciting. Okay, I apologize for the audio. I don't have my nice mic hooked up, but this is amazing. So now anybody can load code on to their particle device and subscribe to my event. In this case, I can create an event for any player, Fleury, McDavid, Ovechkin, Holtby, and without having to do anything in LoSant, they can get these stats down to their device and, display them on a screen or, pick up their own kind of display and display it some other way. Really cool way to take this project, like I said, to the product level. And so I'm really excited about this. That does it for today's episode. Really cool that we were able to just load some basic code onto our particle devices. And then, there's that option, like I said, from LoSant to do direct function calls on your particle device. But this idea of publishing events is really cool and powerful if you want to deploy a fleet of these like you would, in the case of building an actual product. And you can narrow events down to products. Mine are just public. Anybody in the world that subscribes to this event with their device will get these messages for stats, which is fine. But if you wanted to keep that within a product definition, you can define products within Particle, limit events to specific products, which is really cool. And so I'm really excited about that particularly because I've got some other exciting things that I think we're going to be able to pull off within LoSant. Just really having a good time learning more about the platform, what the platform can do. I feel like this is kind of the point of my journey, is to dive deep into some of these things and learn more about it, so I know what options exist out there. So really excited about this. Question of the day: what is your favorite Internet of Things cloud platform? We're playing around with LoSant. I'm a big fan of it, but there's lots of IoT platforms in the cloud. What's your favorite IoT platform, IoT Cloud Platform? I appreciate so much everybody that is watching, getting new subscribers, lots of new subscribers. Welcome. If you're new to the channel, I'm super excited to have you here. And I appreciate everybody watching. Daily IoT, the show where together we're learning how to make the Internet of Things one day at a time.